Hello and welcome to another episode of ETH Denver Campaign in the deep dive into Web3, presented by Decoder. I am Laksh Mittal joining in from India, and today we have an amazing person joining us from the Philippines, and he's none other than JC. So, without any further ado, I'd like to bring him on screen so that he can tell us about what he has been doing, or how he entered the space, how he has been adding value through his community, and working towards a very futuristic goal of building the blockchain ecosystem in Philippines. Hi, JC. How are you?
Right. Thank you so much, Laksha, for the introduction, and just can't wait to add value and share more about the Philippine ecosystem to our
Okay.
friends at Recordem.
Definitely, JC. Last time we spoke about how you guys are actually building a bigger community in Philippines, and trying to make a foundation of infrastructure and education around there in the blockchain space. Okay, I was really thrilled to and enthusiastic to know about it, and today I have the time to know about. So why don't you tell us, like how did you enter the space? Okay, what has your journey been through in the last the whole span of time,
Mhm.
and how what keeps you moving in this particular industry?
Awesome. So yeah, what got me into the Web3 and crypto space is actually my friend. His name is Manman. He's my co-founder as well in our agency, and we were still at, I think, back then in high school, and we were comparing um, the amount of revenue we're able to get in our own careers, and it
Okay.
just mind boggled me that this man that I was talking to, this friend that I had, made like 6 months worth of my salary before in just one crypto trade. And that's
Wow.
when I got into that's when I got interested into the technology. That's when he introduced me to the concept of cryptocurrencies, use cases, utilities, and whatnot. And by that time, actually, I've already been working in marketing and community building, and I was able to find my footing in the space first as a builder. In
Okay.
fact, in terms of building communities, I've been building communities ever since 2017, and I saw that there's opportunity in Web 2. Why not also build brands and communities in Web 3? So I actually started
Yeah.
as a builder, and then trading came on later.
Right. No, that I feel there has always been a point where we have always been got intrigued by what the crypto space, the whole Web3 space can offer to us, and that has also kept us being there as well, right? But why don't you tell us about what you're currently working upon, what you're building?
Yeah, Laksha, right now I'm spending my time with my agencies. My community building agency, we have our clients are we're working with them for launches, of course. We have a few NFTs that we're launching again, and then a few Web3 communities we're launching for um clients in Canada and in the US. But other
Okay.
than that, I'm spending 80% of my time in Web3 education through my company,
Okay.
Bitsbala. We're a Web3
Okay.
education company that basically produces modules and courses for people in Web2 who are interested to dive into Web3. So to date,
Okay.
we also have brands and enterprise clients from Web2 who are interested to build their Web3 teams, and we're training them. We're giving them the support they need when it comes to manpower training, curriculum, modules, courses, and whatnot. And we have partners such as Gcash. That's basically like the PayPal of the Philippines. And then we're also currently working with international projects as well right now, working with Router Protocol as well, who are working and spearheading the process of interoperability in the space.
Right. No, it definitely seems very well. Where like I feel awareness and education is are very important factors, because this particular industry is highly technical as well. Okay, and not everyone understands technology in a distinct manner. Okay, so definitely the education awareness pass is very like important. But JC, if you have anything to share by sharing a screen and let us know more in detail about what you guys have to offer and what you guys are providing, that will be great. So if you have anything, you can definitely share your screen.
Of course, Laksha, I'd love to share. I actually prepared a presentation for the Quorum and
Okay,
for East Denver on the best community building practices. And
amazing. Why not? Let's go
I'd
with that.
love to share it now. I'll just screen share. And Laksha, the thing about community is that we've been obsessed about it for the past years
Uh,
ever since
yeah.
2017. And
Yes.
I'm just really happy to share this space with you guys, especially since Ricorem, for everyone's information, has been a long time partner of ours at Bitsquala and our other agencies as well when it comes to our events and all. And we've been in
Correct.
touch, especially when it comes to connecting manpower to Web3 with multiple projects as well worldwide. But yeah,
Right.
Brother Laksha, is my screen sharing? Can you see what I'm screen
Yeah,
sharing?
yeah. It's on the screen. It's perfectly visible. We're ready to go.
Awesome. So the internet made the world shrink and expand at the same time. And through the internet, basically, the world is shrinking and expanding at the same time. Shrinking because we can now connect with any person around the world through social media, and it's now expanding because local markets are now connected to a bigger global digital marketplace. You see, that was the scenario when the first version of the internet was created. Web 1, an internet where we could read but not interact, and then Web 2, an internet where we could read and interact and build an audience and a following of millions in just the comforts of our homes. You know, as founders say, today is the best time to build because we can build multi-million companies in our garage without even needing an office. But
Right.
a problem comes when you can only read and write on your own version of the internet, right, Laksha? Specifically, if you don't own the content that you produce or your assets,
Right.
and that the problem becomes more amplified if you're a creator or a multi-million brand because you're only ever renting the platforms that you produce content on. In other words, the moment Laksha, that these brands don't abide to the terms of use of these platforms, they get kicked out and they lose everything that they've ever built as if they've never owned their
Own
channel
it. Yeah.
platform before. And right, since it's in Web 2, technically they don't. So that's
Correct.
why we're obsessed with the concept of Web3, a version of the internet where we could read, write, and own on. And the ownership part is made possible by blockchain technology, right? But I'm not here recording this podcast ish with Laksha to share more to you guys about technological revolution because Web3 is first and foremost a social revolution before it is a technological revolution. You see, um, it is a version of the internet that is owned by the people. And at this point, I'd love to share more about the importance of communities in Web 2 and in Web 3. Again, guys, I'm JC Makalintal, and I'll be sharing to you the things that I'm working on at Exo Project, a Web 3 marketing and community management agency, and at Bitsquela, a Web 3 education company that helps people own a piece of the internet. So, Laksha, I'm very excited because when I talked to Vikesh about this,
Right.
we're talking on LinkedIn and sharing about what how we could add value. And I'm happy to share that just for Recordem, Recordem has been our partners for the past year, guys, at Bitsquela. And I'm here to share to you the best community building and management practices we've used to actually build communities for more than 20 plus NFT projects that we've sold out. And to date, those sold
Right.
out collections amount to more than 10 figures in USD. So since we're here with Recordem, I'll share to you guys actionable community building practices our team has implemented for years to obtain community engagements with Meta, Facebook, Google for Education, and other brands in Web 2 and in Web 3. Again, these are the two brands that I'm working with right now, Exo Project, the Web 3 agency, and Bitsquela, a Web 3 edutech company. Now, to share the actionable and tested building community building practices, I want to talk first about the importance of communities. Now, when it comes to community building, we have to define first in Web 2 and Web 3 what a community is in particular, right? And and I tell this Laksha to everybody, just because they have a server or a group doesn't mean that they have a community. Because
Okay.
it only becomes a community when exchange of value happens on all levels of the organization. So meaning to say some people actually have, 30,000 community members, 10,000 community members, but they don't actually have a community. Because this is also known in the Web3 VC world. The community is not a community unless otherwise exchange of value happens on all levels of the organization.
Right.
So so they may have a 50,000 Discord group membership, but that doesn't really mean that anything if their members aren't adding value to one another. And the principle number two is all about simplifying the job of a community builder. Since a community, by definition, is a platform where people exchange value, a group of people exchange value, then the job of a community builder is simple. It's all about facilitating that exchange of value,
Right.
right? And how then can we facilitate those exchange of value? Similar to we're doing right now. We're
Right.
we're recording a talk for the East Denver community. We're recording and adding value to the people that we have. And I tell this to a lot of people. As community builders, we should facilitate and not dictate. Because right now we're just having a conversation, but we're not actually dictating other people what to feel or to be bullish or to be bearish about any particular news. We're just giving them a topic to talk about. And that's the first step. For community building, community builders and managers should give their people something to talk about. And these are some examples. From posts that asks, what's preventing you from interacting with the community? We use questions and feed them topics to be able to exchange value and add more to the conversation. Now, the I have more examples here, but moving forward, I'd love to share more tips when it comes to building and defining the community experience. So when it comes to the community experience, we're adding value not just to ourselves, we're also giving resources away to the community. So this is an example actually of the short form content cheat sheet that we saw that we recently gave away to our community. The social media marketing Philippines community is basically a community of marketers from Facebook, which are connected with Facebook and Meta. So we're part of the Meta Community Accelerator Program 2022, and this is where we gave away our templates for free because we reached 70,000 community members. Now, aside from these two principles, of course, um, again, guys, I'm JC and I'm a venture developer and I'm building a few Web3 companies. Um, Aside from that, what I've learned working with these brands is that when people build communities, they should be building and designing an overall community experience. And when it comes to community experience, it's all about community culture, where we should be putting out what culture we want the people to have. Is there a particular behavior that we don't want to happen in the community? What behavior are we not tolerating? It's these questions that we should be able to finalize. And number two, we should also have a community deck. This should be a deck about the community or the project that showcases everything that we've achieved so far. um, and they should show how impactful the community has been to the new members, so that when new members come in, they instantly belong and they feel that they're part of a collective now greater than themselves. And the most important part, the last highlight for tonight: community resources, a database of channels, tools, resources where people can understand and know more about the community and the value that we're able to add to the table. So to end this sort of brief webinar before we talk more about what we're building together, again, for community builders, just because you have a server or a group does not mean that you have a community, because you have to be able to facilitate exchange of value first before your group or a server evolves to a community. And I have a very good news to our friends at Recordem, since they've invited us to add value here today. Connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, JC Makalintal or at Venture Developer, and would be happy to share a resource tool of 100 community topics to engage your audience. You just have to show that you're either part of Recorem or that you really attended the ETH Denver. So yeah, just have to share this, man.
Amazing, amazing. This is super awesome. I love the presentation, how it was. Okay, very aesthetic and very, well structured in the way you presented it. But I'd like to ask you, a few things around this. So, JC, why don't you tell me a little more about how the BitSquiller community works? Okay, how education and awareness actually works around there.
Right. So the Bitscola education community, we have it on Facebook and Discord. And how it works is on a weekly basis we basically do breakdowns of the biggest news in the community. For example, The recent one that we did at Bitsquela, the Spotify NFT thing, they're basically token gating some playlists. And our team at Bitsquela, our R&D team, we write down, okay, how did it happen? What does this imply to the community? And every week we also have our Bitsquela newsletter, which outlines the biggest news that happened in the space. So in general, we basically simplify the latest Web3 news, technology, and infrastructure, and we do our best to share to the community what that implies to the space.
Amazing, amazing. So, you also mentioned about giving out content resources, okay, which is in collaboration with the Meta team,
Yep.
correct? Right. So, is that also a part of the Bitscola education, or is that something and another like campaign sorts?
Yeah, that's another community that I have, the social media
Okay.
marketing Philippines community one, but those two communities are partners.
Yeah. No, definitely. Why not? But yeah, so tell me, how do you feel about building these communities? What importance do you think is actually there behind these communities? Because what I see is almost every company needs a community in the Web3 space,
Right.
correct? Right. So why do you think it is? See, there are few points that you mentioned that were very important. Like having 70,000 members doesn't say that it's your community. Okay, the actual members are who interact and add value, right? But how do we actually make them add value?
Right. So yeah, there's a two pronged answer to that question. First, um, as a marketer and as a community builder, and I've been doing this ever since 2017. I think what makes Web3 companies need communities more is a matter of the space being too early. Web3 is still really new, and compared to a lot of social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, these users sort of have to interact with one another so that they know how to navigate the space. You know, I
Correct.
think I think it's a symptom of the space being too early, because in order for mass adoption to happen, in order for the user base to grow further, people sort of have to clamp
Correct.
the same way that in psychology, the same way that humans have to build tribes, villages, communities for survival. I think it's the same way as in Web3, simply
Correct.
because the space
Correct.
is trying to survive and thrive, especially right now in the bear market, right?
Yeah.
And the second one, how do you actually make people add value and help one another? And that's a
Right.
really really great question, Laksha. And my best example for this would be actually the Recorum team, because when I met Vikesh, our first intention, and we had the same answer to one another: how can we help? Which was really funny to me, because it's matching DNA, it's matching core
Right.
values. But when it comes to founders adding value, it's all about leading that culture. It's really important. If you're a founder and you don't show up in your community, your presence is not felt, it's very difficult to make sure that that community grows healthily.
Yeah.
So aside from the tips that I mentioned earlier, it's also a matter of showing up to your community, especially if you're a founder, and it's a matter of leadership as well, because communities are still social units, and communities, since they are social units, they also need leaders.
Correct. Correct. No, no, no. Definitely, I feel that part of like adding value is very important because it comes down from the within. That basically it starts from the core team as well. That's very important because
Exactly.
if that's not there, possibly the community doesn't thrive as much or sustains. Right. But with that, why don't you tell us, JC, about how your journey has been in the last 5 6 years? Okay. What is it one thing that fascinates you about the whole technology?
Mhm.
Okay, and what is that one thing that actually keeps you moving in this space?
Wow, that's a great question, man. I don't want to give a half-assed answer, so I'm thinking.
No, no, why not?
You know, the this is also that question is actually involved in our process of thinking about the tagline that we have for Bitsquela, because our
Oh,
tagline for Bitsquela is helping people own a piece of the internet. And
wow,
we had a difficulty thinking about our tagline, because we're a Web3 education company, right? And what
right,
would it take for us to be able to obtain licensing deals with corporations, enterprises, and whatnot.
Right.
We had to pick their interest, right? So I thought of the concept of ownership because Laksha, that's been fascinating me for the past years. Like when I heard the time that I think 2018, 2019, to my friend, man, he told me that imagine that you could own the internet. Like, how can you own the internet, man? Like, how does that work, right? So that's the process that we had. Oh,
Correct.
imagine if you could own a piece of the internet. And Laksha, we had something magical happen when we made that our tagline. Then we're talking with, there are Web3 DJs, right? I term it that there are also TradFi degens, the people who are very, 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 I'd say, conservative about Bitcoin, about crypto, and what,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and they're the ones that really generate that much FUD in the space, even though they don't know it. But we were able to capture their interest when we introduce ourselves. This is how we do it. Hey, Laksha. Glad to meet you from Recorem. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jason Makalintal from Bitsquela, a Web3
Right.
edutech company that helps people own a piece of the internet. And their next question always is this. It's always the same. How can you own a piece
Oh,
of the internet?
yeah,
And
yeah,
how
I
does
see that.
it even happen? You see? And
Yes.
that's where I talk about Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. And Web 3 just being the next level of consumer behavior. It's just people
Correct.
changing the way that they consume, from reading and writing to now owning. So
Owning.
to me, Laksha, long story short, the concept of owning has been very, very interesting to me. And for the past 6, 7 years, I've been building in a space. For the past years, communities, and education. But right now, I'm also exploring GameFi and other aspects
Okay.
of the as well.
That is super amazing. That's super amazing. I totally agree with you on all of these terms that you have said. Okay, there is always that one thing that actually keeps us moving, okay, and holds us together in this space. And one of which I personally think is collaboration. Okay, where almost every company is out there wanting to collaborate and work together to add value to the community as well as to the society, right? So that's one thing that I would, also add to whatever you have said. But coming back to the whole thing, like Jason, do you have any last comments or like any learnings that you would want to share
Mm-hmm.
from being in the space for so long? Any one thing that you think everyone should know about
Mm-hmm.
or learn?
Mm-hmm. Right. For that, you know, the hindrance in the growth of Web3 is really about education. That's why
Okay,
I invest a lot of my time in communities and educating people, especially people who are in Web2 who are interested to join Web3. Because
right,
the most common misconception that I hear from Web2 degens, I dare say that, is that crypto is a scam. And
yeah,
I love what Gary Vaynerchuk says to that. It ultimately, since Web3 is an internet built by people, that and then there will always be that human factor to it. What I mean
right,
by that is that, Laksha, there are scammers in Web2, right? In e-commerce, in real estate, there are people who scam. It's those same scammers who are in Web3 who are now scamming people from in crypto, token launches, NFTs, and whatnot. And why is it? But the question here should be, why is it more prominent in Web3 than in Web2? If those
right,
are the same profile, right? It's because Web3 is a relatively new space, and it's so much
correct.
easier to scam people simply because people don't
People don't.
understand the
Right,
technology, right?
right,
That's
right.
why we're building Bitskwala. And we're very glad to be a partner with Requiem for that, because the next step in forwarding Web3 technology is, of course, onboarding more people. And
Yes.
what does it take to build more companies and more people? Manpower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where we come in. We're trying to you know make it simple to hire good skill talent through the platform Recruit. That's what we're trying to do here, and it comes to the power of communities like you. So definitely it's always a win-win situation for everyone here, at Bitcoin and Decorum.
Right. You know that that's also what I love about the space. I've never heard about I guess rough grinding competition in Web3. It's always about how can we collaborate, how can we partner,
Right.
how can communities work together, you know.
Right, definitely. But thank you so much, JC. We've had a good chat. Trying to understand what has, the Bitcoin team, the SMMPH team. Okay, your, um, you know, standing to offer through the to the community. Okay, in regards of building education awareness, as well as letting them know about how the technology basically works. And thanks for that. Like taking out time and coming here. It was great interacting with you. I definitely had a very good time in understanding and learning about whatever you mentioned about building a community, okay, and why is it important in the Web3 space. And definitely the presentation was very aesthetic, and it brought a part of me of understanding things on a very minimalistic manner, but to very direct to the point. So thanks
Right.
for that.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Taksha, and of course to our friends, Vikesh, for the invite. To the entire Recordem team, we're very very happy to be working with these guys when it comes to our manpower needs.
Right.
From my companies, Bitsquela, Social Media Marketing Philippines, in our agency as well, for the people who are listening here, given to you by Recordem is 100 community building conversations that you could facilitate. So all you have to do is reach out to us and send us proof that you're part of the Recordum community or that you attended East Denver, and we'll give that to you guys. Thank you so much.
Definitely amazing. Thank you so much, JC.